Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Baka. We are an anime podcast, the only anime podcast with no trans fats, no preservatives, and no ads because we have no sponsorships brought to you by Squarespace. No, for real, though, without a bit, we are an anime podcast that watches an anime every 2 weeks. We come on, discuss it like we're a book club, but we're watching TV. We turn that discussion over to you, our comment section, to say whatever you want. Tell us why we're right. Tell us why we're wrong. There's nothing wrong. We're here to debate. Everyone is equal. Some are a little more equal than others. And to do that, we need to introduce these co-hosts. First off, Animal Farm. It's Animal Farm. My son read Animal Farm. It's the Liliana to my warden, Jeremy, with his anime hot take.
So, because I know everybody will get this, Reacher is basically just OP anime. Do you guys even know what Reacher is?
Yeah, I know what Reacher is.
Okay.
I haven't watched the show, but I know the Tom Cruise movies.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's not a movie?
No,
Wait.
it's a series. It's in its third season.
Yeah, it's the same character as the Tom Cruise movies.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He's a much better fit for the character because he actually looks like him in the books.
Yeah.
When are we ever going to follow rules, or is it just me that has to follow the rules and no one else has to?
Actually, you're not supposed to be talking right now. It's not. You haven't been introduced.
You don't exist yet.
What rule is he breaking?
You said anime hot take. That was not an anime hot take.
He said that show was just an anime.
It's just OP anime. You know how there's like Overlord and all the other OP anime? That's all Reacher is. He's just the OP character, but it's like live action. So yeah, I watched some Reacher. So that's
so once again, quote Pirates of the Caribbean. They're not rules, more like guidelines.
Yeah, guidelines that are strictly adhered to on Jason.
Right. Since he refuses to stop talking, I better introduce him. It's the dandelion to my Witcher, Jason.
Oh.
Putting anthropomorphic animals in your anime will not make interesting characters if your anime is not good. In fact, it won't save your anime, and in many cases, it doesn't make an anime better.
I love how our hot takes have devolved into just average observations. Because mine are the same way.
My name is Troy. My hot take is, if your anime is bad, it's going to be bad.
Yes. You can't save it with characters. No, I was thinking that, look, I do the same thing. I'm loving it.
My anime hot take is any anime that's just going with the status quo and doing what the last guy did to find success breaks the spirit of anime. The whole point is that to see something new, something that's never been done before, imagination reigns supreme in anime. It's why I watch it. So your generic isekai 10-word titles can just go straight into the garbage bin as far as I'm concerned. Let's talk about
so yours
today's
is basically saying
Yeah, just as
formulaic
generic
anime
as
is bad.
mine.
That's your
I don't want to hear it.
Mine. Wait.
Formulaic anime is bad.
Yeah, right?
That's not what I mean.
Let's move on.
Not just formulaic, copying the trends. Like, just ReZero is popular, Isekai is popular, so I'm just gonna make let's make 10 Isekai. That's dumb. There's no point for that.
Sword Art Online was the best. Yeah. Because it was the first.
First and best choice.
Until you do subversion. Right. It's okay if you do subversion. Everyone loves subversion. We need to move on really quickly.
Real fast.
The anime we did watch, hold on. The most notorious talker runs the world's greatest, scrolling over, clan. That's the name of the anime we watched. All of that. And I just want to say, I guess this is a bit of a spoiler. Talker is a class of fighter and not just someone who can bamboozle people.
It's a bard.
It's not. Yeah, I was thinking con man. Don't think con man, or you will be conned into watching this anime. All right, we need to talk about it. Non-spoiler review. So you're still safe, guys. We're gonna have a spoiler warning coming up, but right now, Jason picked this. I'll let that sit for a second. All right, Jason, what did you think of this anime?
Man, it was not great. There was a lot of moments that were just fine, but like there was just nothing out of the box, out of the ordinary. They tried to make it Batman-esque in the fact that you had this character that wasn't as strong as the other characters around him, but like his brain power and his manipulation and his preparedness was supposed to get him farther than what everyone else could. It felt like this main character should have been the bad guy.
Yeah.
Overlord did it better. Yeah.
Shield Knight did it better.
Although he was trying to be the good guy in Shield.
Until he got screwed over, and then he switched his mentality.
True.
Still, did he? I don't remember it well.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it because the thing is like it was so generic. There's just not a lot that stands out. So, anyways, I don't know. Hey, basically, go back a week or 2 weeks or whenever Troy decides to release the episodes later.
I'm trying.
Go to my hot take. My hot take was accurate this week. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, your thoughts.
I was curious, when I read that title. I wanted to know where it was going to go, but
you were more interested in the thumbnail.
Yes, I was interested in the thumbnail. But oh, Troy. But it did not live up to my expectations. Sadly, the character is just very unlikable, and I think that's the biggest issue that I have with it. Even a formulaic anime, and it kind of is. I can still enjoy that as long as I don't mind the characters. This character just really bugged the heck out of me. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, so I won't get into any details, of course, because it's non-spoilery. But yeah, it's.
Jeremy, you can spoil things. The rules don't apply to you. You can do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I started this and was about halfway through, and I was like, it's pretty by the book. It's trying to be a little edgy, which was a little cringy. I felt the pacing was slow, a little too slow, which is funny because last anime I had said was going a little too fast for me. And then this was like, I'm going to take 4 episodes to introduce a single side character. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a lot. But my biggest takeaway is I think this is going to be forgettable. I don't think I'm going to come back and remember this anime 3 months from now. Then the last couple episodes happened, and I got offended is the best way to put it. I need to own up, and I want people to recognize where my criticisms are coming from. I'm at a point where I want to nitpick it to death because I'm angry about the last couple episodes. I didn't like it. It's not. I don't recommend it. It had a high score on my anime list. Jason didn't go pick out a stinker on purpose or anything like that. I know that, but it rubbed me the wrong way, and then I was already just not crazy about it. So, yeah, no, not for me. This didn't work for me. I'm supposed to be the positive one. And I'm positive this anime is garbage. All right. Opening and closing. Your guys' thoughts.
Like you just mentioned about not being able to remember this anime in 3 months, I almost don't remember the opening and closing. And I watched them multiple times. they're not fantastic. I mean, they serve their purpose. I didn't hate them, but like they're just forgettable.
Yeah, I liked the initial like strumming of the guitar at the beginning of the OP.
The guitar goes hard.
Yeah, that was really nice. I think it does a good job of showing how the character is very egotistical. Like nobody else is a person. Everybody else is just statues in the OP.
Statues,
Yeah.
I was like,
objects.
Are those supposed to be pawns? Are those like his pawns to play with?
That makes sense. Yeah. But exactly, none of them are real people. He doesn't consider their perspectives or desire. Well, only in his machinations, but not what's good for them. And then in the ED, I liked the girl's voice and I liked the tune, but I didn't like the lyrics. It felt way too wordy. It's a nitpick, but I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah, the OP I liked well enough. The ED, it was fine. You know, you see the gun spinning, then song plays. It wasn't that memorable. I agree with Jason on that one. All right. Before we go to our actual spoilers, we have to announce our next anime. So the next time an episode post for Baka Baka Baka, who knows what that'll be. We're watching Rurouni Kenshin. This is the 2023 episodes 1 through 12 because season 2 just came out. So we're gonna be watching season 1 because it's relevant enough.
Mm-hmm.
It works. Are you okay with that, Jason?
Listen, when we say rules free and then all of a sudden there's rules, I don't know what to do anymore.
Why was there rules for that one, Jason? You keep complaining about the thing but not letting me explain the context.
You said no rules. Rules free.
You picked hentai, man. What do you want me to do?
Hold on. No. That's not what I'm talking about. You know it.
You picked a non-anime. You picked just a black and white movie from Japan.
It wasn't black and white for one.
We're an anime podcast.
It's basically anime. If Jeremy can say Reacher is basically OP anime, I can say my movie is anime.
That's it. At the end of the year, I'm picking Reacher. That'll be my anime.
There we go. Perfect. Rules free for Jeremy. That's fine.
Him making a 10-second comment no one bothers to think about before we set up the podcast is not the same as you making the entire audience not what. How many
TM
audience members do you
for
think
Jason
are going to press play on your samurai movie and want to watch us podcast about it?
Maybe a lot. You don't know.
Tell you what, if we get some comments that are like, let Jason win, I'll do it. Okay, I'm thinking about the views, man. We need views.
Gotta get the click.
We gotta get Squarespace.
WordPress.
Thought it was NordVPN. Anyways.
Yeah. HelloFresh. All of them. We want all of them. I just want mostly ad reads and then we say anime good bad.
There you go.
See you next week or whenever we post.
All right, yeah. Rurouni Kenshin, episodes 1 through 12 of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler warning for whatever anime we're talking about now. I'm not looking at the title again. I think most people just call it Most Notorious Talker. I think that's a fair way to reference it based on what I was seeing when I Googled it and stuff. So, spoiler warning for Most Notorious Talker. We will be revealing characters, plot details, theories, probably a lot of nitpicks. If this is like your favorite anime and you want to defend it, then do so in the comments and we will give it we'll definitely give it a shake. But if people talking bad about it is not your jam,
you don't know.
Keep listening. Who cares?
Yeah. Hate watchers.
I'm sure we'll have something good to say.
I'm just like, no, I don't actually care about you. I just want to be the best.
And you have to like grin and happily say that with snake eyes all around you.
I'm a snake.
Right? Uber emo.
I could totally see him in his bedroom just be like, "Yes, I'm a snake."
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the anime. All right. We're in a fantasy world, it's basically video game fantasy world. It goes by almost Final Fantasy rules in that there's technology and magic side by side. So there's sword wielders, but guns exist.
Magic bullets.
At least
Yeah.
it's a revolver and not a like automatic or semi-automatic.
Uh-huh.
I might have enjoyed that more if it was just like a
We're going to come
Uzi
back
that he
to that.
had.
In this world, there is a realm called the Void full of monsters that are called Beast. And when enough mana gathers in the regular world, Abyss opens and those monsters spill out and you can go into these Abyss and fight them off. And our story starts with one of these going off in a small village and the village getting ransacked, and this old warrior goes out to battle him and tells his grandson, who looks like his granddaughter, you stay here, I will go take care of it, you be safe. And then he goes out and he battles them all, and then we see the little boy come out and his grandfather's in half laying on the ground but saying, hey, are you sure you want to do my job? And the little boy says yes. So before we talk about the little boy, who's our main character, let's talk about your thoughts on the world, this environment, magic engineering.
It was, yeah, it felt very much video game world. It's like, oh, here's this monster spawn. When we kill the main bad guy, the monster spawn dissipates. It, you know, how to pick up chicks in a dungeon did it better, for one.
Yeah.
And for two, it felt yeah, it felt bad.
I think that there are some redeemable qualities to the world building. Like there's some interesting ideas there, but they did not execute them very well. I think maybe they'll expand on it later and we'll get, well, I won't be watching it later, but somebody will be.
You hope it does.
Yeah, I really hope it does. I like the idea that they have like almost like a vascular system of mana under the ground, that if they plug it up in one area, it'll like burst forth and create problems there and open up new abysses. I could see that being something that people manipulate. It creates new problems. It creates unexpected things. How do they even know that? I would love to hear the background of that and how they discovered it, what happened, stuff like that. The classes, it's really interesting. The idea that they have an entire race, the little gnome people, that their class is inherent to their race, and it is the class that lets every other class level up and like determines what they are. So what happens if you just like genocide that race? Do classes stop working? Does anybody else ever get to level up? Like I can see them doing a lot of interesting things with it, but I don't know if they actually do. Because all of it just seems to be to support the machinations of this little boy. And I think that's as deep as it goes. So there's an interesting canvas laid out, but I don't think they're really going to do anything with it.
Yeah, the classes, the idea is really cool, but then the fact that every character we meet, because we need him to do something specific for the main character to get his plots completed, they're a super rare type that you'll never ever see again. This guy can shapeshift. This guy can control people. This guy can do these things. So rare, super rare. I know them all though. Felt very frustrating, but I did like the base idea of like, hey, we have basic classes, and then as you level up, you get subclasses from it. And you get to choose which one you get. It felt very Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say Path of Exile.
It's kind of, yeah. Not quite as dark.
I love the idea that the monsters that they're slaying are helping them create the technology they're using. But as I've complained in the past, when you do a magic technology fusion or have a technology in a magic world, it feels so empty when it's lazy. For example, like, oh, we have these magical beasts and we create all these inventions, and I wear a Casio watch that I can turn on and just do a timer, whatever. Like, give me a golden thing where you pull out like a glass case and there's like 7 triangles in it. Some are lit up and you're like, oh, that's how much time I have left on my timer. Don't give the main character a Casio watch and a Smith and Wesson on his hip. It's so bland, and I'm just like, because you just said I need him to have a watch for the story. I need him to have a gun. So I wrote this little sentence about technology so that I don't have to bother with figuring out how he's keeping track of time or how he's attacking people. Same thing with Link, the magic spell where we can walkie-talkie people because I don't have a way for my characters to communicate when they're a distance apart, and I don't want to bother thinking of one.
I was waiting for him to like walk into his room and go, hey, I need a cup of noodles. I'm going to use this special magic box called a microwave.
Yes.
Seriously. Well, even when he uses Link, he touches his ear as if he had an earpiece. And I was like, just no, it's a lack of imagination. I'm already nitpicking. All right.
Well, it's also an issue with what are the ramifications of having powers like that, and what happens to people that have those kinds of powers? Because certainly he's not the only talker. There's other talkers. So there are people out there that can form telepathic connections with. Is it just your party members?
The entire anime. Did we ever run into another talker? I'm
no.
trying to remember.
No, it's just an assumption I'm making because, it's supposed to be the well-known, like, weakest class. So I'm guessing other people are out there. But if it comes with telepathy.
I thought Wolf was going to be one, but I think they actually said he was a warrior.
Oh, the kid with the pelt.
The pelt on his head, yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with the strategic prestige or subclass that he gets later. Like, what does this do? Oh, you think faster. You can think so fast that you're simulating the future and predicting that. He's already good at predicting things. All you did was just make him better at what he's already good at. And what would that do? Where else would that be used? That's another area where I think in the world building, I would have loved to have seen that, there people that have the ability to do telepathy are scooped up and hauled off to go and be trained and used in some secret group or something.
I was going to say this for what happened in the story, but it's so soon, and I feel like we're just going to come back to technology anyway. I like I like Final Fantasy, so a gun showing up next to a sword user is not a deal breaker for me. I recognize it's stupid, but I also we just all agree it's okay to be stupid and it's fun. But there is something very bothersome about the way this anime does it, because he literally goes, I'm too weak to be a real fighter, and then he pulls out a gun and I'm like, oh, so you're fine. You have the strongest weapon, and it was a weapon created by humanity, and we just abandoned all other weapons and just kept focusing on making this one. That's how good it was. Yep. And again, Barrett standing next to Cloud in Final Fantasy VII, I have no problem with. It was just the whole there's nothing I can do. I'm such a weak fighter. I guess I'll get to shooting. All right, sure. That's visually so distant from what he's saying that it hit me like a bag of rocks. So, all right. Now let's talk about our main character, Noel. He's going to grow up to become this talker class, which, like we've mentioned, it's basically a bard and is considered the weakest. You are just creating buffs and for your party or nerfs for the enemy team, whatever. You're by saying certain words. And he's notorious because he has very low morals and is willing to do whatever it takes to win. It's a dog-eat-dog world. I want to come back to that, but it's a dog-eat-dog world, according to him. Your guys' thoughts on
I don't think we ever see a dog. Anyways.
They ate them all.
Right. As I was watching it, it just felt like this would have been so much more interesting if he was a side character that was a reoccurring no morals rival that was borderline or just straight up villain, but was playing the government role line so that he wasn't a criminal, and that someone who we're going to meet later, Leon, was the main character. I think that may have made this a better story. He's like I said in the opening, they're trying to make him out to be this Batman-esque figure where he uses his brain and his manipulation and his charisma to
Instead of time.
win.
Yes.
Right, instead of time to win battles. And as interesting as a concept as that is, this character is just unlikable. Very few redeeming qualities about him. I think what makes it really frustrating is like, oh, I'm 15 going on 16, or I'm 16 now. And it's like, I get your granddad was like one of, if not the strongest seeker. However, did you have to be a jerk all of the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's insufferable is probably the biggest part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really had a hard time with this character. There's moments where it seemed like they were trying to give the impression that he battled with himself. Maybe he had a shred of conscience or something. He second guessed some of the decisions that he made, but they were so subtle and so rare that no time was really spent on showing a struggle. And I think that would have made him an interesting character if he was going, if we keep him. I like your idea of actually sidelining him and making him another villain, because he'd make a great villain. But if we are going to keep him as the main protagonist, really emphasizing that internal struggle, I think would have humanized him more and made him more interesting as, someone who's willing to be cold but doesn't like that he's doing it. This guy derives pleasure. I don't know how many people he stepped on, literally and figuratively. Like, he literally plants his foot on people's chests and kicks them while they're down, people who were his friends recently. And just the lack of empathy is astonishing and makes him very, very hard to deal with.
The plot does try to keep him always on. Well, he's justified, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
It does do that. But yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying. First of all, it doesn't help that he's both rich and definitely benefiting from nepotism. Like, just the fact of who his grandpa is. People are like, okay, I'll set up all these machinations, and oh, look, you won. Crazy. We're gonna get to that.
No problems with that, by the way.
Yeah. There are plenty of characters I like where I disagree with them on a moral, philosophical basis. I'm not exactly fond of what the Punisher likes to do. I think the Punisher could be an interesting character. Even Batman, in a lot of ways, I'm like, seems extreme. Matter of fact, when I take it to Star Wars, one of my favorite Star Wars is in the comic books. Her name is Dr. Aphra. She's basically Star Wars Indiana Jones, except for instead of like always doing the right thing, she constantly betrays her friends and loved ones, sells them out to the Empire all the time if it means, okay, I can survive another day. She very much has this, eat or be eaten mentality, and I absolutely love her for it. But also, the story always goes out of its way to show, well, then she doesn't have loved ones anymore. They abandon her. You're going to sell me out to the Empire. If I stay by your side for more than 5 minutes, I'm out of here. She's constantly alone and constantly also being betrayed and has no one she can trust. And there's this constant flux of like, she feels bad for herself, but then keeps making bad choices and then suffers consequences for it. It also doesn't give Noel a good reason for it. His grandfather died fighting for him, and he isn't like, I have to get vengeance for my grandfather, or I have to save other small towns like my small town. He's just like, no, I gotta be the very best.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is if a 14-year-old cringe lord wrote Pokemon. That is what this story is, and he changed Pikachu into a booby assassin instead. It was so frustrating. His whole thing is, no, I just have to be the best. So I need to compromise and screw over people and go way too far and gouge out a man's eyes. Yeah, he was gonna kill me, but like, dang, man.
Yeah.
He's hard to like. They don't give justification for it, and this anime celebrates his moral choices
Hmm.
rather than, man, he's making the hard choices and he's suffering the consequences for them. This comes with a cost. No, it's like, oh man, he gets everything. He's richer now, and
Mhm.
oh man,
And he has
everyone
the best fighters on his team now.
everyone loves him. He literally tells one guy like, just do it, and the guy's like, okay, I follow you, master. I'm like, what? No. He wins because every character wins because the writer decides they win. I am aware of that, but it's so blatantly obvious that this character is getting handed free wins. And I am nitpicking. I'm sure there's been plenty of times I defended stuff like that, but it's not fun. It's not fun. So if you're gonna be stupid, you got to be fun. And if you're not both, or if you're not one of those, whatever. All right. Story time. He says, oh yeah, we see the first battle with him. He's with his team. He has 2 fighters and a healer, and he's casting his voices. This is where he pulls out the gun. I'm such a weak fighter.
Yeah.
They win the battle, and then they have a celebratory dinner. He argues with one of the guys. And then the whole group is outside talking, and he's like, hey, guys, I think we should form a clan. We're a party right now, but we should form a clan. We should get out of the clan we're in so we don't have to pay like dividends and dues. Let's just form our own group. We'll get our own base. And they're like, well, that's going to be really expensive. He's like, yeah, but we've been saving up. We've been taking big jobs. We got the money. Let's do it. And he's like, and if we don't, I'm taking all my money and I'm walking away. And so the group agrees to it. And then the next morning, he finds the one guy he was arguing with shows up. He's like, oh, I got a letter. The other 2 ran away with all our money. So he goes to this bar and he puts a bounty on their head, but that's just to get like a creepy old guy to give him information. He also says like, it wouldn't even be worth tracking them down. Okay, we're tracking them down.
Yeah.
And they find them. Beat them up a little bit, tie them up, and they're like, oh, you had gambling debts. And they both had gambling debts, so they were taking the money and running away to a new town. And he's like,
they had no money. They didn't have any money left. They'd already lost it.
They already lost it. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because they paid off the debts.
Mm-hmm.
The debts were paid.
And I love that he's like, oh, I have this special ability that's super illegal unless I'm using it on criminals.
Yeah. Yeah, and he keeps doing it. Like, he keeps using it on everybody. It's like, oh, okay, who called him a criminal? You did.
He later uses it on a non-criminal.
Right.
The doctor. He says he uses it on that doctor. And I don't think that doctor was a criminal. Because
the doctor
he's involved though, right?
Covered it up. Yeah, he's what's that called? He's associate something.
Accomplice.
Thank you. Yes, accomplice, okay. Exactly. But he's making the decision. Like, he's declaring them a criminal.
Right.
Like,
and no one's following this up. There's no investigator who's like, okay, so I've heard you use that power you're not supposed to use. Can you justify why, or do we need to go down to the station?
Yeah. Nope.
And yeah, he gets him to confess. And then he's like, well, you're going to prison. But actually, this guy's name, who is Finocchio Barzini.
It's like it's really funny. I don't know why it's so good, but like it's so close to Pinocchio and then just kind of a vaguely Italian sounding name.
Yeah.
It's so good.
If you're wondering if you've ever seen this character, you have. He's in everything. Yes. He's the
Kefka
androgynous clown, scary, mysterious, but always up for a laugh and very charming character. He's in ReZero. He's in everything.
Hunter.
Yep. No, that clown's very different.
It's like pretty similar.
He's not androgynous at all. He's got a huge chest and arms. He's
okay. You're right about that. He's not androgynous, but he's got the other qualities.
Okay, so this guy shows up and he's like, actually, you've been sold into slavery. And Noel's justification is, well, that's not as bad as being in the coal mines, but it's also implied they're going to be sex slaves because they're good looking.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
So I'll take the coal mine.
Right?
But the reason he's doing this is because he gets paid to sell
money.
them for slavery.
Yeah.
So he recoups his money.
Which I'm wondering, in order to sell something, you need to have ownership of it, right? So this whole scene didn't make sense to me. And also, I just don't feel icky every time I try and think about it for more than 5 seconds.
So my thought was it was a finder's fee. Like here's some people that are in a dire situation, so they'll probably sign an oath, and then you'll get the finder's fee for it.
Do you want to go into slavery or do you want to get in the coal mine by the law?
Right. I'd still take the coal mine.
I'll take the coal mine.
Yes.
And okay, so the other guy then quits. He's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So I quit. And then Noel's like, okay, I'm gonna rebuild a party on my own and then do this all on my own. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to talk about Noel. His biggest motto is literally, I want to be the strongest by getting the strongest on my team. And I'm like, that doesn't make you the strongest.
Right.
And matter of fact, at one point, he chastises another party for having a strong guy stronger than everyone else, and that would never work. That'll just create jealousy. And I'm like, but isn't that exactly what you're doing? Like, everyone's stronger than you, and you're jealous. You are jealous. We have a scene where he's like, I know I'm not strong enough.
Yeah.
You're not strong. That's not what strength is. You made up a thing and told yourself it's the same thing. Yep. At least he works out. At least he's not like.
Yeah. There's another one that he always says that drives me nuts, which is like, anything someone else does to me, I will pay them back 1,000-fold.
Yeah. He doesn't do that for friendship. He only does that for vengeance.
Yeah, exactly. It's just everything is vengeance. And then there was another one that he does.
It's also just Lannister. All the Lannisters always pay their debts.
Yeah, it's basically that. Yeah. Another one that he says that drives me nuts is don't look down at me, or nobody can look down at me, or something like that, where it's like, wow, only somebody who has something to prove says that, right? Yeah. Because the moment that you're confident in your capabilities, you kind of stop caring if people look down at you. So it emphasizes how childish he is.
And again, for no altruistic reason. Like, there's no this is for the greater good. There's no I have to save the world, or I have to avenge my grandfather. This is just, I gotta be the best. and I can't be. That's right. So because
he's got to catch the best Pokemon.
Yeah.
Put him on his team.
The best seekers.
That's right. Which is really funny too, because later we learn that there's actually a legitimate threat to the kingdom. He could switch gears, and he could be like, gotta save everybody. I have to be strongest for a reason. Nobody else can do this. But he still doesn't care about that.
He literally says, this is a huge opportunity for us. I'm so excited.
Exactly. Yes. I'm going to use this.
Not mine. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. A young woman shows up, and she wants to join his team. She knows who he is. She knows who his grandfather was over death. She wants to join him. And she gets yelled at for being in a seeker bar, a C-rank seeker bar, the lowest you can be. How dare you come in here? And she kicks the guy in the face. And Noel's like, you're hired. You're awesome. This is Alma. So your guys' thoughts on Alma?
I enjoyed this character, not for her looks, because she is drawn very voluptuously. But
I thought her looks were great.
At least she was an adult.
Right? Yeah. She says she's 21.
Right away.
She told me she... Never mind. She...
Do we believe her?
She's got... I actually enjoyed her backstory because she's got this, not just chip on her shoulder, but she's like, I burned my entire life. She reminds me of Todoroki in the fact that she was born into this family of just kids that were
forced to kill each other.
Mutual combat to see who was the best. And then she burned her entire life training and being the best assassin to just find out that the Assassin's Guild isn't going to be all that assassin-y because they're more of a political organization now that uses assassins as a last resort. And that she's just too dangerous for them, which I found pretty great. And because of that, like, she's just got this screw loose. And like, there's a couple scenes that even the main character, Noel was just like, whoa, she's enjoying this way too much as she's slaughtering these bandits. And she's just always on that knife's edge. And it's interesting to watch her interactions with the world because she just can't relate to anybody because that was her life. So besides that, she's got some icky scenes, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the same things that you mentioned. The only issue I really have with her personality is that I have a hard time believing that she could be so innocent and carefree when she is. It's like she switches gears and she goes into her crazy bloodlust, joyfulness, and then when she's not, she's like, oh, this bread bun is amazing. It's so good. Oh, let's do something fun. Hee hee tee hee. And it's not a manipulative sort of like
very childlike almost.
It's very childlike and very innocent. And I have such a hard time believing that a character who was forced to fight and kill all of her siblings, and it shows one of the flashbacks, like we're talking head stomp, as a kid. I find it very difficult to believe that she would not have the PTSD from that to where she wouldn't have that capability to be so naive and innocent. And so that part's a little hard for me, but otherwise, she's fine. And I agree with you, Jason. That scene is a bit icky here. They state their ages and flip the sexes and you can get a real problem there too.
To be fair, I completely forgot the scene where she admitted her age. And so I thought they were same age, and I was just like, whatever. Now, I do remember her saying, I'm an adult, and now I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, she literally said, I'm 21.
I mean, it's already weird because she's insisting she's a sister, but in a sexual way. Like, it's very much
right.
Always wanted.
Yeah. So
I think I'm stuck in the dryer.
However, I do think she's very fun. Great anime pout. I love a good anime girl pout, and hers is one of the best. She's constantly not getting her way or unhappy with situations, and she puffs out her cheeks and she gets all indignant about it, and I love that about this character. My one biggest takeaway is they started setting up what I thought was going to be something very interesting, and it wasn't, because they're like, oh, I was trained to kill over death, and now that he's dead, I've found the grandson. And I'm like, oh, she's actually there to kill him. Like, this is going to be this interesting thing where he's using her, but he's got to keep her from killing him while she has grown feelings for him, and there's all this stuff. And they're like, no, actually, that's not it. Her flashback reveals that she was trained to kill over death, went to the Assassin Guild, and they're like, you're just a little too hardcore for us. So she's like, but I don't have anything to do. And they're like, well, you can just go hang out with this guy. And she's like, okay, now I have something to do. My life purpose has been fulfilled. And I was like, that is so uninteresting. This could have been so, like, have all this political, like, oh my God, what's she going to do? And nope. Just, man, if only someone would give me, like, an objective. And then he does. And she's like, I'll serve you forever.
Yep.
Why would things be interesting?
Remember, she's just made of stone. She's just a pawn. I hope he made it clear. She's not a real person.
Which would still be cool if she was also partially against him and he's still using her as a pawn.
No, that would be cool. But no.
You guys remember? Have you guys ever seen Code Geass?
I started like one of the episodes, but I never got a chance to.
That
The rest,
Lelouch is a great character who constantly like does. It's almost like Death Note, but the main character is a good guy the whole way through. But he keeps doing like worse and worse things and committing worse and worse like war crimes and stuff to the point where you're like, man, is he going too far? But also he's aware of it, and it works really well. And the fact that he's manipulating his friends while he does actually care for them, and there's all this. Anyway, I just remembered a good anime and wanted to talk about that instead. All right. So she joins him. They do a test to see if she can work with his buff skills, which apparently none of the other characters have to do. Just her.
It's true.
And she has to catch a rabbit in 10 seconds, and she catches 13. Because she's so fast. She can already go times 5, guys.
Cow can.
times 5.
Ludicrous speed.
Yes.
And then they get a job. And they go and they have to stop at a town on the way. They have to take out bandits, but they have to, they stay at an inn. He comes out of the bath and she's like, man, you're jacked, but you actually kind of suck because you're just a talker. And he's offended. It shows the next scene. He's like, I know that. And that's why I'm like, okay, so you clearly have a chip on your shoulder about this, and tell us later that'll poison your heart, but you refused. Okay.
Rules for thee. And not for me.
All right, they get to the town that they're there to save, and there's a little girl, and she's like, oh my God, Noel's here. I think Noel's the coolest. Because he had been there with his old party, and she remembers him. They go and they take out the bandits. This is where we get to see just how bloodthirsty Alma is. But, Noel has a plan. And a grappling hook?
In his watch.
In his... James Bond.
I'm telling you, they wanted to write Batman in a fantasy world.
Yep.
Batman doesn't use guns. Unless they're on his car or his plane or his boat.
That's true.
Those are fine.
Those don't count.
And also, if there's a grappling hook on it, then that's a gun he can use. If he shoots you with it, it's fine.
It's utility.
Has there been a Batman movie where he doesn't actually use guns? He uses a gun and everything.
That's a good question.
They kill the guy. Then they go back to get paid, and he's talking to the girl about like how you become a seeker, because she wants to become a seeker. She's a warrior class, but you're still like you could become support or backline. They call it frontline, backline, right?
Yeah.
Backline doesn't have to go to college as much. They only have to go to like community college.
Yes.
And he's like, so if you go backline, you can get done further and join my party. And she's all excited. And then the mayor, her father, shows up. He's like, drink this wine. Please
I know.
have this wine. He's like, okay, so you poisoned the wine. And he's like, no.
So he leaps across the table and gouges his eye out.
No, he does confess on him, which if he did confess on him and the mayor's like, no, I actually was just sharing you a really good bottle of wine.
That's illegal then.
Yeah. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I should shut up. I just do my job. Then he jumps across the table, gouges out his eye, and he's like, and the little girl's like, here's all our money. And the mayor's like, no, we need that to pay off gangsters that I kind of got involved with. I have debts. And the little girl's like, no, take all the money. And he does. Not the money they were promised to pay. Just all their money.
Takes it all.
And he's like, it's an eaten world. I deserve all this money. They tried to kill me. I get to rob them. It's fine. And he leaves. And the little girl's like, I hate seekers. And he's like, oh, I'm sad for a second. Anyway, look, an airship. Isn't that cool? I'm going to get an airship someday.
Yes. Such a jerk. I mean, jerk isn't even strong enough. He's horrible.
And then so the airship does two things. He explains the rankings of the guilds. The top guilds get airships because they're working with the government. They're called the Regalia. And they have rankings in the Regalia as well. And he wants to get into the Regalia and become the number one. And then we get almost flashback about, and again, this is our second Alma flashback about being refused by the League of Assassins. And this is where they're like, hey, we're not like assassiny, like we'll kill people, but we don't really like to do it anymore. And you're like totally a murder lady. And you think that's what I was like, oh, if we're going back to something we already know, we're going to get a new twist to it. But no, the new twist is, but I don't have anything to do. I'm like, how about you go hang out with Noel? And then so Noel telling her that I'm going to be in the number one clan. She's like, oh, I have something to do. And she hugs him and says, I'll serve you forever. I'll always be by your side. That's it. Mm-hmm. By the way, this is the 4th episode. It has taken 4 episodes to do all this. If you've noticed, there hasn't been a whole lot I've had to say or recap in the story. This anime moves very slow, and I'm not sure why. We could have done this in 2-3 episodes at most. Anyway, like when they stopped in the town just to have an extra night of sleep, and I was like,
that was for the ecchi scene. The creepy ecchi scene.
But we could have stopped in the town and done the ecchi scene. We have to stop at another town. It's all right.
It's fine.
There's a guy. Okay, this never comes up in this season, other than they readdress it over and over, but it never moves forward. There's a guy on death row. He has the super rare puppeteer class, and Noel wants to recruit him. But we start with this scene where we meet a guy named Loki. He is a black market info broker. Who has the super rare ability class of shapeshifting.
Wait, another rare one?
And he checks in on this puppeteer guy. We see Noel throughout the anime, and I'm not going to bring it up every time because, again, it never pays off in this season. I'm sure it will later. Noel keeps going to this guy and being like, you're going to join my team. And the guy's like, I'm not going to be on your team. And he's like, you're going to join my team. I get what I want. Which, by the way, is bad guy language. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie. That's exactly what a bad guy says, but it's fine. And then every time Noel leaves the prison and they zoom in on his mouth and the puppeteer smiles a little bit. Every time.
He's winning him over.
He's like, I'm happy now.
I'm so taken.
They did it like 3 times, and I was like, stop it! One mouth smile was enough.
Yep.
All right. That happened.
Sure did.
We see morning training. We see them running errands, which Alma says is a date. We see the place where you get leveled up. There's gnomes?
Yep. They're called gnomes.
Yep. Yeah. They have like horns on their heads and stuff, but they're gnomes. And they're a special, only they can do this class of they research classes, and they can help you level up and choose which way you level up because it's a video game world.
Because that's their class. Basically. They have a special class that lets them do that.
Right.
And it's race locked.
Right. And Alma is ready to level up, but he's like, hey, I don't actually know what I'm going to end up recruiting, so can you just wait until I figure out what I want you to be? I mean, he says you can be whatever you want, but if you want to do what I want you to do, hold up for a little bit because I haven't figured it out yet. Yep. Then they do errands, they look at gear, and they look at buying skills, which are books that you can buy.
And she goes to the cosmetics shop and buys a stuffed teddy bear.
No, that was from the skills shop.
Yeah, but it's a cosmetic purchase.
Yeah. I hate this. I understand that's how a video game works. It's fine. I mean, why not just open the book, look at the skill, and be like, okay, and I have the skill now? Why do you have to own the book? That doesn't make any sense. That's not how
you can't read it if you don't own it.
Like there's no
Knows
libraries
that.
in this world.
Absolutely, not with skill books.
Yeah.
Why not? This is to save people. These are the heroes of the world. Why are they hiding it behind a cost? Hey, guys, read all the skill books you can. I'm the government, and I don't want my people to die.
It's like equipping your soldiers with the best weapons. Like it's what you would do.
Yeah. Well, and again, in a video game world, yeah, that's what you do. So the players have to choose how they want to level up and spend their resources. In a real world, you're watching it. It's like, this is the dumbest thing ever.
Yep.
I can't imagine playing a video game and going, man, I need money. What should I do? I'll sell my trader friends into slaves.
Yes.
No lie.
That's a game mechanic.
1-2 episodes into this, I was like, this has got to be a mobile game. This is pushing a mobile game. That's what the vibes I was getting. It's not. I checked. This is a light novel. It's not.
Oh wow.
But I was like, okay, so like all these classes and build your party and level up and how the rules all worked. I was like, so this has got to be from a video game. That's why we're sticking so close to video game rules. Nope. It's not an isekai. It is just suck it. Video game rules. I'm sorry. Okay. After that stuff, he goes and meets with Loki and gets the information he wants. He also learns about a side shoot of the local gang, or one of the mafia gangs is now selling drugs on the street that are really, really bad. And he's also really upset that he's in Poor Town. He's like, oh, I'm in Poor Town. It's gross. And then he walks by what looks like a homeless man and drops a coin. And the homeless guy is like, hey, sir, you dropped your coin. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then the homeless guy's like, take your coin back. He's like, don't touch me, you filthy animal. Kick. And at first I thought, well, he's trying to save this guy's pride by being like, oh, no, I didn't give you money. But then he straight up calls him gross and kicks him away. And I'm like, okay, how is that helping his pride?
Yep.
So does he really just hate poor people?
No. No. It all was this. Okay. Okay. So here's how I interpreted it. I interpreted it just like you, that he was trying to save the guy's pride, but then the more that he saw through the interaction with the guy, that the guy, he handled himself like he moved like maybe he was a fighter. I think he was then trying to test him. And so each step became more and more of a test, and his tests are always insults. Like that's the only way he knows.
Yeah, he does like to piss people off. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's what he was doing. But
he does literally say, ew, gross, Poor Town.
Yes.
Okay. Just
part of his insult for.
All right. So this
is the hero of the story.
Yes.
So this warrior is not a homeless guy. But he is a slave. Goes to attack him. This is the character Koga. He's going to end up joining the party and be like, I love my boss. Yes. Your guys' thoughts on Koga?
Remember that time when you grabbed me in the street and threw me into a wall because I was a dirty slave?
And called me filthy. Don't touch me ever.
Yeah. Reminiscing.
You pores.
Yes.
He's fine. I think if he was in another anime, he'd probably be a little better. But like, this is like some Stockholm syndrome stuff going on. Like, he's so conditioned to being told what to do and being a slave that he's just like, this is great working for this guy that spits on me.
Yes. Yeah, he just gets absolutely enamored with the main character, and I kind of hate it
Because he's so strong. Not like in any way that matters, but his eyes.
His eyes are so strong. He looks so
not
determined.
physically or mentally.
Have you
but
seen his eyes?
His eyes. I was like, what are we doing?
Yes. And I love it how he has this deep conversation with like the top henchman of the crime lord about this, and the guy's just totally feeding into it. Like, yeah, you know, when you find somebody like that, I had a guy like that once where I looked at his eyes and yeah, he's the issue is after all of this, he really doesn't matter anymore. He's just the sword, just like the other girl is just the dagger. Like
he has, yeah. There's no character after his story.
I think in another anime, I would love Koga. I like how different he is from what the main character is, where Noel's like, you got to be mean, you got to, you know, get stuff done. And he's like, I'm super honorable. I don't like to hurt people. His backstory is like the most tragic, horrific thing ever.
Yeah.
And he's so sweet and nice in like the interview where he's like, what if I mess this up? And Alma's like, oh, you're going to mess it up. You're going to ruin this for everybody.
And then I'll kill you.
Oh, no. Their relationship is great. The way they argue like a real brother and sister. But like you said, with Noel becoming his champion because of his eyes, it feels dirty and wrong instead of, man, I'm loving his contribution to this team, which I mostly really like the character. He just, Noel dirties everything.
Well, you know, he's poor.
He's so poor. Ugh. Okay, so the slave owner
on my money.
The slave owner arrives and is like, hey, we gotta go. And Noel realizes, okay, this guy operated the fighting rings for a mafia in another place and skimmed off the top and has now run away to this place. Puts a gun in the guy's mouth or to his head. I don't remember. and has the thought, if I shoot him, I could take the slave for myself and that would be awesome. And then we hear a bang. The episode ends with a bang and the next episode starts. And Noel goes, nah, that guy's just not like fierce and independent enough for me. Wait, that's the reason you did murder?
Yes.
Again, not a good guy. The slave owner obviously is horrific in his own right, but Noel is about to commit cold-blooded murder because A, I'm in Port Town, anything goes, and B, because it would be convenient for him.
Yeah, it's personal gain.
And also, like, the slave guy, like, just got done pulling Koga off of, like, out of fighting him and was, like, apologizing. Like, I'm so sorry my guy here attacked you. Oh, I want to put a gun in your mouth for apologizing.
Yep.
Don't you look down on me. I think
right. Exactly. He says to a person half his height.
Yeah.
Now I'm now coming to the realization this might need a higher score because I think it was actually a comedy.
Yes. It's like a hate watch anime. What you need is like Troy narrating over the top of the scenes. That would be better.
This is a Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's a deep take. Oh man.
A big flaw in our podcast is that because I do the recaps, my opinion on things definitely skewer how things get recapped. And I apologize for that. There's not much I can do. I do try to keep them entertaining, and when I hate something, I gotta do what I do. Okay, so then we get the slave owner is now caught by the drug selling mafia group, who recognize who he is and are planning to murder him. But the mayor from the other story arc shows up, which I did like. I did like how they have threads that were connecting and tying together. And like the mayor wasn't a one and done. Let's never come back to it. It played out. But he shows up. This is the guy he owed money to. and he tells a lie that Noel took all your money and said the Gambino family sucks and he did all this and
the only lie was that he insulted this guy.
Right.
Everything else was true.
The mafia boss of this group is called Albert, and he's like a psychopath who loves violence. So he orders Koga to use the man's walking stick from where Noel broke his leg and use it to cut off the man's arm, which he does.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the Albert is like, I want this guy on my team, and so Koga becomes his slave. The slave owner is like, yeah, take him, sure, great, that's better than you killing me. So doesn't help him much at all, but whatever. No. We then get a scene with Loki, the shapeshifter, warning Noel, hey, the Gambino family has decided to come after you, and here's what, that guy lied, so they're coming after you. Also, I told them where you are. They're coming here to get you right now. This is a trap, which is a terrible trap because there's a ton of time. Like, you don't say it's a trap and then the trap not spring. You can't be just like, here's a trap. So like, if you're here in like 10 minutes, you're going to die. Like, that's not that bad. And then Noel's like, oh, Loki, you betrayed me. I pull out my gun because I'm a powerful fighter. I have a gun. I can literally murder people. And he's like, no, Loki, I let you go.
Oh, just because Loki was like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this. My pride. I'm ashamed of this choice.
I got it that Noel saw opportunity of like, well, he's going to owe me freebies for the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, Loki is like at that instant, I've sold my reputation. What have I done? Like, yeah, dude, you didn't think about it for 5 minutes? You came to that realization just now? You're crying?
Yep.
Like, at least get your money and feel some shame about it. But, he's right. But also, how did it not occur to him at all? He didn't seem like that dumb of a character to be like, oh my God, what have I done? Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So Loki leaves, and then Koga walks in. So again, the trap is terrible. He had plenty of time just to be like, okay, well then I'll just go.
Yep.
They recognize each other, and they're excited to fight. And Koga introduces himself and is like, I don't really want to kill you. Here's my attack style. And Noel's like, okay. And they fight, and Noel loses, but Koga doesn't want to kill him. And then Noel's like, God, you suck. You should just kill me. What are you doing? You're the worst. And then Alma shows up, and they fight. And then Noel's like, okay, I'm done with this. He calls the police, which he does with a flare from his gun, which can call the police.
It's a flare gun as well.
Everyone knows that if you send up a flare, the police will just show up. And he's like, hey, we'll meet again, and send a message to Albert. And the message to Albert is, face me yourself, you coward. Ha 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 ha.
Not the bad guy of this show, by the way.
Right. Also, we get Koga's tragic backstory too about how he became a slave. It is super, super tragic. I don't really feel I want to repeat it.
Fair.
Then we get the scene of, man, you must have fallen in love with that guy. Well, I'm not like that. No, like bro love. Like, oh yeah, he's so strong in his eyes.
I just want to fist bump him. Yeah.
Albert comes to the Seeker Tavern. Seeker is the name of people who fight the monsters.
Yeah, monster hunters.
Which apparently they're the worst human beings in the world, but also the heroes of the world.
Mm-hmm. With great power.
Which pisses me off to no end.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad.
It's not, but there's been so many anime that did it better, where they're like, yeah, heroes do this, but it does attract a bad group as well.
I think, is a good example.
We only see like one really bad guy the whole time. His
Yeah.
original party members were gamblers, but that had nothing to do with them being seekers. They just also had that flaw.
Mhm.
The only guy who's really like, I'm a powerful seeker and I'm going to bully someone is that guy who gets his nose cut off.
Yeah.
Everyone else is pretty cool. And matter of fact, they show that like the seeker groups help each other and train each other and he's like, dog eat dog world.
You just use it as an excuse.
Right. Well, and the thing is, other seekers are like, wow, I can't believe he's like that. When he's like the only one with that mentality. No one else is thinking that way.
Yep.
All right, I'm repeating myself. Dead horse. All right.
Hey, there is nothing we do better than kick dead horses
Yeah.
here.
True.
At the
That's
tavern,
100%.
first Albert drinks this wine, and then he's like, hey, kill this guy. And they're like, we're in a seeker bar. If we do this, it's going to be a fight to the death for everybody. And we'll do it if you tell it to us. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe not. And then Noel's like, hey, that wine you just drank, I poisoned it. And then the guy runs out screaming, I've been poisoned. And then the lieutenant who had warned the guy drinks the wine. He's like, yeah, you lied. Here's some money. Get out of town or we're going to kill you. And Noel's like, okay, I will. And then him and Alma leave and he's like, we're coming back in 1 week. And she's like, I'm going to go train. And that never pays off ever.
No, it's just like we need her out of the picture. So she's going to go train, which does nothing because the only person that matters is Noel and his machinations.
So he goes off to do machinations. He comes back a week later. We like literally just jump cut to in the middle of the night in the city, and he's got the gang in front of him. And he's like, "Ah, I've returned.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do."
This is the first time they do this. They do it again later, where they jump cut across what would have been the planning phase, what could have been like the build-up phase to draw up suspense and curiosity from the viewer, and instead they're just like, no, here's the payoff. Wasn't it great?
Yeah.
Like, no,
You like it, don't you?
you like it. Take it some more.
Albert tells his men to kill him, and they don't move. And he's like, that's because I secretly met with your men, and I revealed to them that you're not really the heir to the gang that you inherited, and also you killed the former heir. And probably only I needed one of those things, but I found out both of those things. And he's like, but I'll challenge you to a duel. And the guy's like, I don't want to duel with you. And then Finocchio shows up, and he's like, you have to duel because I am higher in the mafia than you. And he's like, okay, but you don't have to duel yourself. You can pick a champion, which seems dumb. Of course, he picks Koga, and then Alma's like, all right, I get to fight him. And Noel's like, no, I fight him. And I liked Noel and Koga's fights. I liked it because it wasn't a guarantee. It was very much like, I have a plan to beat him, but I'm putting myself at risk here. This felt much better than certain other episodes where machinations felt way too heavy-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And they battle, and he beats Koga, which means now Koga is his slave.
Yeah, they didn't even explain like
They
why.
don't. He's just like, this is my slave now.
Yeah, here's my paper.
And they started to, because like the one guy is like, hey, you fought like a man. If you ever need a favor, just remember. He's like, no, I don't want any favors. Leave me alone. Bye. And I'm like, oh, I thought he was going to say
again.
I thought he was definitely going to say, can I have Koga?
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He just, nope, bye.
Yep.
Then he
Plus,
has a...
With as much as he relies on Loki to be an informant, it doesn't make any sense to me why he would just discard any connection.
Seriously.
Every connection should be kept.
And also that's such a, like, that feels so called out. Like, they're definitely going to call that ship in. So the whole, I don't want to.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you're going to. You can tell in the plot. It's going to happen. Anyway, then we have a scene where Finocchio is like, hey, join the mafia. And he's like, I don't want to join the mafia. I have a special skill that if you say no to me, I get to steal your heart. Ha 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 ha.
This is such a convoluted
Yes.
explanation.
It looks cool in the moment, like the visuals of him holding the kid's heart. That's actually pretty cool, but it was very Convoluted is a great word.
If you deny me 2 times, I have a very specific skill that I paid money for, because that's how that works in this world. And
got from the skill store.
And maybe we should sell this to other warriors and adventurers, because it'd probably be super helpful. It'll steal hearts from monsters. You just be like, monster, don't eat me. Monster, don't eat me. I got your heart. I win.
You denied me twice.
And then, but the scene is Noel is like, I don't care if you have my heart. You're going to kill me? Get in line. Just do it already. Let's go. I'm never going to bow down. I do my own thing. I'm a snake. You can't get me. Hiss.
He's just psychotic. Oh my
And then
God.
Pinocchio's like, I was just joking. Here's your heart back. I wasn't scared. I was totally not scared.
When you make the creepy psycho clown scared,
Yeah.
you're not the protagonist.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call. And then he goes out. He leaves and is gonna go murder Albert, because that's what he does.
Not put him in slavery.
Mm-mm.
After this, he takes his 2 party members. They dive into one of the abysses.
Abyss.
They go into an abyss, and they're really good. So they decide they're going to form a clan. This has been 8 episodes. Getting Koga on the team took 4 episodes. It took 4 episodes for the whole Koga story. Oh, now I'm gonna get pissed. Last
Oh no, here we go.
Troy's about to transform.
So
going into his next form.
we start with a flashback with the guild inspector, the head guild inspector, showing up at Noel's wineyard estate where he has maids. And this is when I was like, oh, you're rich? Oh, all this time he's like, oh no, I can't buy this spell that would be super helpful. And I'm like, you have a ton of money? You were making you could have bought a guild at any point. Anyway, so yeah, this guy comes in with he's like, oh, hey, you have a lot of servants and you're running a great business. He's like, yeah, but I'm gonna be a seeker. He's like, oh, okay, I know your father. Come see me sometime. I don't know. It just shows up. This guy's name is Harold.
I don't know.
And he's just introducing who Harold is, because we immediately then go to them doing the clan interview back in the current time, and Harold is the one doing the interview, and he's like, what are you going to do about this? We're going to do this. What's your name? This. Okay. Everything looks in order. I decline your thing. Why are you declining us? Well, you see, in 1 year, a super omega, super Saiyan level monster bubble is going to appear. And we've decided, instead of cultivating nuke talent, screw that. You're either good or you're out.
Yeah. Seems logical, right?
Ask how that works for football teams trying to win a Super Bowl. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm going to turn you down. Also, my favorite part, don't tell anyone. Because in your time, this giant bubble's going to appear. And then the next clan, he says, no, don't tell anyone. Dude, you're telling everyone. What are you doing?
Yes.
All right. So, Noel is excited about this because he's like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. I got a plan, guys. And he gets Loki to get him information about all these other B rank parties that could become clans. And he finds the one he wants. And we get
you describe this as so entertaining.
I hope so. We'll probably do this. Alma, who's training with another girl, meets the clan that ends up getting targeted, and it's Leon's group. So let's talk about Leon. Your guys' thoughts.
He's probably one of the most interesting characters, at the same time one of the most bland. And let me explain a little. I like what ends up happening to him and his decision making, and like having to like the juxtaposition of being the knight in shining armor, but then also leading a group of people that are never going to reach his level. I thought that was an interesting storyline, but
it would be in an anime that wasn't already all about a guy who would never reach the other people's level. It is. Never mind.
But
I'm sorry.
He's so he could literally be cut out of nearly any other fantasy anime. Is the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's so generic.
Yeah, I totally agree. In other fantasy anime, I would probably criticize him. In this one, where I wind up disliking the main character so much, I actually lean towards this character, and I'm like, oh, breath of fresh air, thank you. Somebody that stands for like righteousness and justice.
Yes,
and
somebody with values.
You know? Yes, the ethical tent pole of the Seekers. So I liked him. I like the exchange between, or the background, I should say. I like the background between him and his friend, who is like his other support warrior in his party. I think I would have liked to have learned more about their part. I would have liked if the whole series was about them instead. But the other two just kind of are throwaway. It's really just Leon and this other character where the turmoil is built up, but it feels very artificial. Like the entire turmoil and issues that are brought up, just they seem what is that term? Starts with a C. Basically, when it's just made up.
Undiluted?
No, that's complicated or hard to understand. But it either way, it's oh God, now it's gonna kill me. It's not construed. Oh well. But
now it's in my head too, because I know what word you're going for, and I can't get it.
Yep, it's killing me. But yeah, basically it's like it was written in that it needed to go this way. There needed to be a blow up between the two characters, and it just doesn't really make sense. The rest of yes, that's it. Contrived. Thank you, Jason to the rescue. Yes, it seems very contrived, like this entire issue that develops between them, because the way that the characters had been set out, their personality was already established. And even if they had chips on their shoulders, they were mature people who could walk away from being provoked. And if you can walk away from being provoked, then you can settle your internal conflicts between yourselves without provoking each other and losing control. So what happens with Leon and how he is, like, he starts out as this interesting paragon, interesting because of the circumstances, really, the way this anime is portrayed. Otherwise it'd be bland. He just kind of gets warped into something that I don't really think is him. He's almost like hammered into submission and made to follow, leashed behind Noel. And it's humiliating and frustrating for him. And I don't like to see that with the hero, where like the villain winds up doing that to him. Ugh.
Again, I really like the character. Like we said, it's just kind of a breath of fresh air with everything going on. But I also noticed his name is Knowles backwards. And I was like, oh, he's the mirror. And he's going to turn into like this super villain because everything Noel does. And that's going to like, he's going to. And they're like, no, he's just the next bland party member that we'll forget about in an episode.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? Same. Yeah, and I have a lot of problems with it. Go with the plot that's coming up. But so most of matching what Jeremy said. Yeah, in this
you have problems with all of the plot. What are you talking about?
No, this is okay.
To come.
All of the nitpicks I probably would have been fine with. Like I said, I was like, it's fine. It's a fine anime. I don't love what the main guy's doing. I'm not gonna remember this in 2 months. Up to this point. And then Rage.
Now you're gonna remember.
Baby Rage. This is my Kisniver. No, it's not. I'm not gonna remember this.
How dare you?
You mentioned the name that shall not be named.
I'm not that petty.
I am.
So the plot here is Noel first he gets this team into an argument. The girl gets all upset, and then he gets Leon to. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, she was out of line." And then Noel's like, "Well, you're a piece of crap, aren't you? Look at you, high and mighty." And the guy's just like, I was just saying sorry. Oh, so you're like God now? And I was like, wow, that is a stretch in a million. But Leon's like, oh, am I saying I'm God? I guess I'm really offending this guy. Oh, he's making me mad now. We're leaving. And I'm okay, that seems dumb because you didn't say any of those things that he just gaslighted you into believing you said. But whatever. It's an anime. Of course, everything's going Noel's way.
This reminded me of like the Joe Pesci character.
Yeah,
the one that is
clown
like
to you.
yes, yeah, exactly. The Animaniac pigeons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The result of this, in a roundabout way, is eventually Leon and his best friend get to talking. They're like, you know what? Let's form a clan. We're finally ready. And Leon's like, oh, I hadn't really thought about it, but we could. Yeah, let's do it. And so they submit their application, and
they get letters inviting them.
That's right. They do get letters inviting them, and they're like, we should do it. And Leon's like, oh, I guess. So, my biggest point was that Leon wasn't super into it, but decides that that's what the party wants. Let's just go for it. And so they submit their application to Harold, and Harold's like, I reject you. Here's a secret. Don't tell anyone. Same bit as the other one, but he's like, okay, we're going to do a test, and you have to go fight and kill this monster. And if you do, you can become a clan. But we're going to do it as a competition. And I've invited this other random clan to do it. And it's Noel. And he's like, okay, so here's the rules. And then Noel's like, can I add an extra rule? And Harold's like, yeah, sure. Why not? But here's the thing. Later, we get a flashback that all of this, the test, everything, was Noel's idea. That Harold's pushing all these strings and buttons. And Harold's even aware of the letters that were not sent by him. They were sent by Noel. And he's like, you probably shouldn't have done that. That's kind of underhanded. And Noel's like,
it's fraud.
Yeah, and Noel's like,
faked our signature.
Like, oh, was it? What are you going to do? Spank me. And so I'm like, okay, so he's rich. He's got such high nepotism that he's literally having the commissioner make rules for this contest to ruin this other party. And the rules of the contest are, if you win, you become a clan. If not, your party has to disband.
And you can never party together again.
Never party together again. Again, in a world where in
BS
1 year, the biggest threat of all time is about to show up. And they're like, hey, this up-and-coming talented party, eat it. We don't want you.
This is one huge convoluted plan to get Leon separated from his team so he'll join this Noel's clan.
Right. Yep. But it's only working because, A, the monster they go fight has the weakness of Noel's new level B ability that he just unlocked. So he chose
He even calls it out.
Yeah. So did Noel go, hey, I noticed this one monster. Why don't we use that for the test?
It has to be. There's no way he's just randomly got the lucky skill.
No, he even says after defeating it, yes, I even, like, this monster was picked because it was weak to my powers.
Right. So I
guess
had
to be there at the planning stage.
Noel's team didn't rise above. They literally set up a complete plan for Leon's team to fail.
Yes.
With the point of forcing Leon to quit and need a place to go. And Harold went along with it and also turns to his granddaughter, who's also a commissioner, and goes, I bet Noel's team is going to be the best because I'm pulling every string to help him win. I can't imagine. And it wasn't for this particular contest. He's saying he's going to be the best, but literally is like, it is. I've never seen an anime being like, nepotism, the way to do it.
Yes.
Oh, I was so mad. I was mad before I knew Harold was changing the rules for the test. And then the flashback of literally, this is all just a script that Noel wrote, that the commissioner of all guilds with the apocalypse pending was like, yeah, that's cool. Your eyes are strong though. So why would
is just
do
like
it?
This is just like those videos like, I'm a self-made millionaire. I get up at 6 a.m. and I go for a run. And then I, do this and I then get dressed. And then I go to work for my dad's $1 million company.
Yes. Yep.
Oh. Anyway, everything goes Noel's way.
Weird.
Leon's party when they're fighting the monster, which by the way, Noel is like, we're going to have a picnic instead of fighting the monster. So
you can read minds apparently.
Leon's party wipes out all the minions, and then is battling the main monster. And because his team isn't strong enough, they're forced to retreat. And his best friend's like, okay, I'll be a decoy, and then you do your biggest attack, and we'll win. And he's like, no, I don't want to. Look, his reason is I want to protect the team. He's like, so we'll team up with Noel, and we'll get the monster killed. As long as we all live, that's what matters.
Well, and also the fact that if they team up, then you can't say that Noel won. So there's nobody that lost. Nobody has to disband.
Right. And his team's like, traitor, because Noel had gone around to every party member and been like, you want to betray him? Because he's going to betray you.
Yeah, he literally poisoned the minds of all these other people.
Which he was allowed
he's a good guy.
do because of the rule he set forth himself. And then everyone was like, that's weird, he wants to make a rule, but I don't got no problems with it. What could go wrong? And why didn't Harold just put that rule in anyway? Since Noel already wrote the rules.
Yeah, it's almost like Harold just didn't follow the script perfectly enough, and so he had to correct him during delivery.
So again, Noel has his new I think so fast that you can't read my mind power.
Mm-hmm.
I love this moment in the bubble where this team is like, oh no, he wants to protect everyone. He must be a traitor.
It makes no sense. It's so contrived.
It's so contrived. And not true. Like, you can't tell me that every other party, everyone is the same level. Like, there's got to be plenty of parties where, we have an ace. That's a normal thing. Look at sport teams. Not everyone's LeBron. You just need a LeBron.
Yep.
So Leon's team has to disband.
Oh, it's you can't skip the part where his best friend walks up and cries while he stabs him.
Yeah, he guts Leon through. I missed all your vital organs, but you'll never be able to move until we heal you.
Yeah,
you're right.
Come on.
Because I was jealous.
Yeah,
and I wanted
Noel
to be
was right. It's very, very painful.
And then Noel goes to Leon and he's like, you should join my team. And he's like, I don't want to. And he's like, hey, do it. And Leon's like, all right, that makes sense. Oh, I forgot this part. Leon is being bullied by that big giant B rank guy. And Noel comes up with his team and grabs him and slices his nose off. And I'm
literally falls on the ground and he stomps on it.
And stomps on it. But this guy is stronger than Noel by a lot. Noel should be dead here. There's nothing other than
his eyes,
strong
man.
eyes. There's no reason for this guy to take this, or that Noel works out and he does train, but it's very clearly shown that your class is way more important than your physical attributes you put in yourself. This guy is a tank, and a knife just takes his nose right off.
Mm-hmm. I also had an issue with just the portrayal of this character because he was introduced before as sort of the get out of here, you don't belong here, almost like the self-proclaimed bouncer of. And Noel says, oh, what about your family? What about your kid? Is it going to be a boy? Is it going to be a girl? And so you're supposed to get this impression that, the guy actually has a family. He's human. He's he's got other things he cares about. So he's just posturing and he needs to back down, and then he does. And you think, oh, okay, that's over with. Then it comes to this scene and you're like, oh no, the guy actually is a creep. They do kill people. He does want to kill Leon. And so now we're just going to chop his nose off. And I'm like, why did you even do that? And then I realized, oh, that's why you did it. So that Newell could say, I'm going to make your family look just like you. That's the only reason that they pointed out.
What a bad guy would say.
That's what a bad guy would say. It's
but
what
it,
the hell?
Already at this point, I was like, oh, everything's so contrived. But again, just I can bully stronger guys than me because I can, and they don't put up any fight, and so I just win. I just cut off noses, and they don't. If someone cuts off my nose, I'm swinging. I'm already gonna be mad. I'm gonna be like, I'm freak out. I'm gonna try to kill him.
You don't understand. His dad is over death.
That's right.
Grandpa.
Be in fear.
Grandfather. Right.
His dad actually sucked.
Nobody knows his dad. Don't you see the snake aura around him and his eyes glow now? He's so intense.
Earlier, Solo Leveling is a great anime that showed hey, we have heroes and scoundrels doing this job. Solo Leveling, not my favorite anime.
But it did a good job. It did a good job with that.
But I believe that scumbags would be exploited because it was also very much this is economic based work only, whereas the Seekers are portrayed as more as we are heroes, we provide science to the world, we save the world, this is what we're doing. And yes, there's some aggressive people here, but even the C-class bar where they're like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Not, well, gotta eat or be eaten. Bye, Noel. Enjoy being killed by the mafia. This is the only. Okay, nope. I already said that. We should. Dead horse.
Horse, get over here.
The reason Leon joins, it was something about like, I just wanted to be with my friends, and he's like, you got to think about yourself, and Leon's like, okay. That's really what it was. It didn't make any sense to me
because that's what a hero would say.
There's probably something more in it, but honestly, when I saw this scene, I was like, why did you just agree to that? Literally nothing he said was convincing at all. He didn't say like, on my team, you could do more good than you could on any other team or anything like that. It was just, hey, do stuff for yourself. All right.
Don't you want to be selfish?
Exactly.
And then, I kid you not, 2 minutes pass, and he calls him master.
Mm-hmm.
And I about threw my lunch.
and then his best friend comes out of nowhere.
We get a scene of the best friend being like, I'm mad at you, I'm going to beat you up, but it's really to set him free. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, don't look back. Give him his dignity.
What, you guys laying on the ground crying?
That's your dignity, is like ignoring me? All right. Oh yeah, then they get they have to go fight a guy who summons undead. It's like a big beast monster, but it summons undead skeletons. Guess what Noel just bought? Undead skeleton book. But they are losing this fight, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it turns out, no, we were losing on purpose. We tricked you to come into a cave full of poison cave that we made from almost blood.
I love that they basically got diffusers.
Yeah, like oil diffusers.
Yeah, oil diffusers in this, like all over this game. It's like, one, how are those powered? And two, gun that it's like, I guess they have elevators. I don't know.
Is there a reason Alma's blood is poisonous to beasts only?
No clue. I mean,
well, she's an assassin, so she
a beast assassin, I guess.
Okay, so to I hate doing this. To give a little defense here, earlier in the anime, she did say she's basically immune to most poisons because she ingests them all the time as an assassin.
Oh.
So
is that how poison works? It just stays in your bloodstream so you can use it later.
She's toxic.
Yeah. Okay. They win the fight, and that's basically the end. But the one thought that wouldn't leave my mind watching this ending was none of this crap's going to work with the apocalypse scenario that we've been presented as coming. You're not going to be able to contrive your way into fighting this specific monster that you just got your specific skill for, and the proctor isn't going to help you out and change rules for you, and you're not going to have the very specific poison spray that
But he'll be the best seeker.
Because he'll sabotage everyone that could have handled the problem.
Right.
So that he's the only one left.
He is literally cutting the legs out from everyone and weakening the military.
Yes.
Thank you. That's exactly what my thought was. Is like, this seems really bad for, hey, we need to rally and get ready to fight the apocalypse. And they're like,
this guy's just cutting everybody's tendons.
And also just keep in
and
mind.
Harold's down with it. Harold's like, yep. And the government's down with it. Government's like, yeah, get rid of him.
The biggest reason he wants to make a clan is not to help save the world.
Nope.
It's because he'll get more money from the contracts they get.
And glory. Yep, exactly.
This is a capitalist endeavor.
Yeah.
And again, he says his motto. He says his motto at the very ending: "I will be the strongest by having other people strong around me and not actually being very strong myself."
That's the fine print subtext.
Jeez. It's not okay. We're at the end. That was the end. Let's go to our final reviews. Jason, your pick.
Yeah. Wow. I went into this thinking I was probably going to give it a 2 because I was like right around it's fine, but it wasn't very good. After discussing it, I think it's a 4 because of how much I left. No, I'm just kidding. It's a 1. This is so bad. I can't believe that it got the score it did on my enemy list.
It's got a high score on my enemy list.
It's just there's just nothing clever about any of the solutions that this guy does, and he does it in the evilest way he can that's not breaking the law.
Right, because usually in anime where the character's clever, they'll be like, here, because obviously it's always convoluted. The writer's writing it, right. But there's like, here's A, B, and C, and then we find out the main character took C and mixed it with B, and that's how they got to A. Like, it presents all the puzzle pieces and then shows you how he put the puzzle together. But in this case, it's just like he built a puzzle, jigsawed it apart, but then left it together, and he won. He built the puzzle, and I'm like, but nope. That's not clever. That was just he had nepotism and money, and sure,
he was never at a loss of resources. He was never at any sort of real danger, except for with Koga, but like in both cases, he A, had a MacGuffin, or B, his assassin was there to save him.
Let's not forget that he has access to every guard in the prison.
Oh God, yeah.
Him. Right. Despite that, he also had to send in a shapeshifter.
Right.
I'm guessing 1 led to 2, but it never explained that. It
was implied.
He controls the prison now. Because he's blackmailing everyone.
Every guard.
Not one person has the integrity to say, no, this guy's on death row, leave me alone.
Yep. Well, and it's not even like us being overly critical on that point. He literally says, I have blackmail on every guard.
Anyways, it's a 1 for me. I did not have a great time.
Yeah. I was also going to give it a 2. I'm giving it a 1 now. It was basically posturing the anime. Like everybody was all about ego and who's the biggest in the room, and it was just very unpleasant. Even the one character that I really liked was just kind of beaten up. Not great.
Get away from me, you poor.
Yeah. I don't want to parrot. I was also a 2 and it came down to a 1. But that was because of the last 4 episodes. Just really, it ruined the other stuff that I was fine with beforehand. I could have even been at a 3 at one point. I think my biggest issue. I walked away worried. Is it just because I don't agree with the character's philosophy? But I'm like, no, there's plenty. That literally happens to me all the time where I'm like, yeah, I don't think eye for an eye is the way to live life. But if there's a character who does that and they put in the justification and they just explore that idea, I'm fine with it. I don't care that he's notorious. I care that it's explained badly, that it's just because I told my grandfather I'd be cool one day, so I had to get rid of all my morals. And even if they don't just be a villain with him. You can have a villainous main character. Overlord does it. It works. You can just be like, man, I hope someone stops Overlord. Or Ainz. You know, I knew his name. They didn't do that here. They were like, no, but like he's justified because like that guy was gonna poison his wine, so he definitely. Oh, also that little girl got mutilated and murdered by the mafia because he took all their money.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, but you know that was really their fault. I'm not responsible for that. I hope she rested in peace. No, you got her killed because you could have just taken your money and then been like, hey, that was at least was fair. I understand his reasoning for being mad, but you took all their money when they told you we're all going to die if you do this. And he's like, yeah, that, you know, eat or be eaten, little child who has a deer head sewn to her body now.
Right.
Cringe.
Yeah. Yes.
Ohio skibbity. I don't know.
Oh, never again. Never.
Anyway, one for me. Our next anime. The season 1 of the 2023 version of Rurouni Kenshin, the remake, episodes 1 through 12. This will be a two-parter, but we're just doing the first 12 episodes, unless you found out it was 13, Jeremy.
No, let's do 12.
12, first 12. There's 24 episodes. We're gonna do it in half. So yeah, if you have thoughts on, I'm scrolling.
Just say the Notorious Talker.
The most notorious talker.
Nepotism
Please,
the anime.
Yes.
reach out to us on our website, theanimebakaclub.com. Hit the contact us button. Let us know your thoughts. Or reach out to us on Twitter at Baka Podcast, or wherever you found the podcast. You can comment, probably, most likely. And it'll come to us, and we'll see it. And we'll try to respond.
At some point.
Sometimes. Look, I do send them all to these guys, just so you know, and we do try to respond.
And new episodes every so often.
Stay tuned.
Look, you guys were the ones who were late last time. I don't know why you're throwing all the
Fair,
dirt on
fair.
me.
Sure,
Okay?
it's
We had it
100%.
done.
Everybody that.
All right.
I'm thinking it's always you.
I think it's time to say goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
I know.